everybody. So today our episode is going to be about overcoming depression, anxiety, and panic disorders. Let me start out by saying I ain't no therapist. I ain't no trained, none of that licensed, none of those types of things am I, okay? I am simply a young woman who have experienced depression, who have experienced anxiety, who has experienced panic attacks, and I just want to help you all utilize the same tools that I utilize to help myself get through the things that I'm battling. I have been to therapy. At the therapy office, what I simply did was talk to my therapist. She gave me the tools and the mechanisms to learn how to communicate with the people that I wanted to maintain relationships with. She helped me to learn how to process my own thoughts. And so I just kind of want to use what I've used to help myself, and hopefully it'll help somebody else, right? Okay, cool. So let's get into it, all right? Word. Okay, so first thing I want to talk about is what is depression, right? Okay, because a lot of times we hear people talk about depression, we hear people talk about anxiety, panic. It's like those words just came up out of nowhere all of a sudden, and they're like, oh my God, like what is that? I hear all the time, but like really, what is it? So depression literally means sadness, a deep sadness, right? So when I think about depression means a deep sadness, it makes depression not seem so big, because doesn't depression seem big? It seems so heavy, it's so overwhelming, and when it's big like that, it makes us feel like we can't get over it, like we can't get past it, right? But for me, when I think about depression as just sadness, a deep sadness, it makes me go deeper into myself and try to figure out, okay, well then what am I sad about? What type of thoughts have I been having that now makes me sad? So one of the first things that we learned in therapy was about emotions, thoughts, emotions, and actions. Okay, so what thing comes first? Does your thought come first? Does your emotion come first? Or do the action come first? We learned that your thought comes first, not your emotion. A lot of us think that emotion comes before thought, and it really doesn't. Only because our minds move so fast, we don't stop and realize, oh, I was thinking about something before it made me feel a certain type of way, and then I did this action, right? So your thought comes first. So with that being said, a lot of times when you find yourself in depression, it's because you have a repeated pattern of thoughts that make you feel sad. Okay, so what were my thoughts about? You start digging into what your thoughts about and start realizing what it is that's making you sad, then that helps you deal with the feeling of sadness. Okay, so you're getting into the nitty gritty of it. Okay, so like with me, I was going through a lot of things with my family. I was growing, I was changing. They didn't really understand. And it was a lot of childhood trauma. When I first went to depression, when I first went to therapy, they diagnosed me with bipolar 2 severe manic depressive. I'm not diagnosed with that anymore. But when they first diagnosed me with that, they say that those type of mental illnesses have a lot to do with your environment, your structure, things of that nature. So that made me be like, okay, well that makes sense to me, because in my opinion, I lived in a household where it was very, very religious, but nobody really wanted to talk about the real life things that were happening in our day-to-day, everyday life. Nobody wanted to discuss when things happened that were traumatic for the whole family. We just didn't talk about it. We just made sweep it under the rug and went on like didn't nothing happen, when everybody was affected by it, but nobody talked about it. And so when you do things like that, it makes you hold on to stuff. You harbor those feelings and emotions. When you put stuff into a little box, that box don't disappear. The feelings don't disappear. It's just in the box. And sooner or later, that box is gonna burst after you keep putting stuff in it, putting stuff in it, putting stuff in it, putting stuff in it. It's gonna start seeping out the little holes, and that's when you get, all of these disorders and these mental illnesses going on. So the first thing that almost the first thing that you learn in therapy is to change your thought pattern. That's what I would say is step one to overcoming depression, anxiety, panic. is to change your thought pattern. Sift through your brain and see what you're thinking about. You know, before you get to the point of sadness, you need to be trying to figure out what's your thought process like. One of the other things that my therapist told us to do first was write down 10 things that you like about yourself, 10 things that you love about yourself. 10 things that you love about yourself, 10 things that you like about yourself. What are 5 things that you accomplished, that you succeeded in? How do you feel just about you? And when you write those things out, you express how you feel about you, it helps you to create better thoughts about yourself. A lot of times what we don't realize is that we recycle thoughts about what society thinks about us, about negative things that we've heard over the years. Oh, you got multiple children, ain't no man gonna ever want you. Your cheeks not straight enough, your butt not big enough, your stomach ain't flat enough, your this ain't that enough. And so we get all of these thoughts into our head, and then we start to believe them. And then when you become an adult, you don't realize that you've been recycling these thoughts about yourself for the past 10, 15 years. And now you're depressed about how you look, about how this looks, about how that is. When your life is just your life, and everybody is dealt a different set of cards, you have to make the best and the most of what you got, right? Right. So we have to learn how to change our thought pattern. Our thought pattern is so important. Our mental wellness is so important, right? So we just have to be proactive in changing our thought pattern. It's not easy. It does not happen overnight. You have to actively do it, right? Like you just can't say, well, I'm just going to try it this one day, and if it don't work, then that means it don't work. No, you have to continuously teach yourself, train yourself how to think positively about yourself, about the situations that you are in. When my son when he was first killed, you know, I thought the world had ended. It was the worst thing that could have ever happened to me. God, why did you do this to me? Why this happened to me? You know, I thought I was unworthy as a mother. And even after that, I still had more children. I used to always wonder and ask God, like, God, why you keep blessing me with these children? There's so many other women in the world that want kids, God. Why you keep giving kids to me? And I lost a baby. My baby was killed right in front of me, and there was nothing I could do about it. Why, God, would you continuously give me children? I felt unworthy as a mother. I felt broken as a mother. It wasn't until I got pregnant with my second to last baby, my little 2-year-old, Enzy, that God spoke to me in the shower one day. And I'm talking about even during this time, I just didn't feel good about it in myself, because I was still so broken in a certain way about motherhood when it came to my children, because my son had died in front of me, and as a mother, it wasn't nothing I can do to stop it. As a mother, we're taught that, you know, we're supposed to protect your children no matter what. You're supposed to be there for your children, and I felt like I had failed at that, and God still kept blessing me with his children. Why do you trust me with that, right? God said to me, because you are worthy. And it wasn't until I realized that for myself that I am worthy to be a mother, you know. So you have to change your thought pattern. I had thought for all that time that I wasn't worthy to be a mother, but God didn't feel that way about me. God felt like I was very much so worthy to be a mother, because he kept blessing me with these children, right? And even if that's not the situation with you, maybe you do want to have children, it just has not happened for you yet. It's not in the cards for everybody, for number one. And then for number two, you know, we have to search within ourselves and see what it is about ourselves that's keeping us from certain things. Change your thought pattern. Put some positive things into your thought pattern. And I'm sure you can hear my 2-year-old now, because he would not have let me do this live without being a part of it. Yes, sir. It's orange. It's a real orange. What kind of orange? I got red on it. What is that for? Because of what, baby? Oh, from the chips he was eating? Well, honey, I don't want that. Here, you go ahead and eat. You eat orange. You don't want to eat orange? Yeah, Chad's going to eat orange, okay? Yeah, I have my whole crew here helping me, okay? Say hi, Nancy. Hi. Okay, bye. That's right. You just be quiet for a few minutes, okay? Yeah. So the first step in overcoming the depression, anxiety, and panic would be to change your thought pattern, right? The first step in changing your thought pattern is to understand that your thoughts come before your emotions. emotions drive your actions, okay? So you need to first of all understand that your thoughts come first, okay? Okay, so and then after that, you need to, after you understand that your thoughts come first, and you understand that you have thought patterns that you've been recycling over some years, then you need to start writing down and thinking about, like I said, 10 things that you like about yourself, that you love about yourself, 5 things that you succeeded, accomplished in, 5 ways that you show kindness, that you serve, just any attributes, any characteristics about you that you really enjoy, that you've heard other people say that they enjoy about you, that makes you feel good about yourself. Anything that you can find that makes you feel good about you and that shows you who you really are, you need to write those things down. You need to make those things be a part of your thought pattern, a part of your thought process about yourself. Because a lot of times when it comes to depression, anxiety, panic, a lot of the ways that we feel come from our own thoughts. Let's just be honest. Our own recycled thoughts. Yeah, they may have come from the outside in, but once you've been recycling them for so many years, it's coming from your own brain. And until you dissect it down in the process that I'm talking to you about today, really thinking about, where did you get this thought from? Like, where did this thought come from? And did this thought really come from me? Do I really think this about me? And if you don't, then you gotta throw that away. You gotta replace that with something positive about yourself, right? I know it's not easy. I ain't here to tell you that it's easy. It's hard. And you have to be proactive, and you have to be intentional, okay? You can't just let stuff just go on like your thoughts. You can't let your thoughts just go on like, oh, it's gonna be all right. When you are a person who's dealing with mental illness and who wants to be well, then you have to be proactive in that. And anytime the opportunity comes up for you to reinforce your wellness, for you to reinforce positivity into your life, you have to take the opportunity. Okay. So that's just my first video. Once again, I just want you to understand to change your thought pattern. That's the first step. Change your thought pattern. Understand that your thoughts come before your emotions and your actions follow. Love yourself. Write 10 things that you love just about you. How many people can actually say, there's 10 things I can name off the bat that I love about me? If you can't right off the bat name 10 things, you got some work to do. If you can't right off the bat name 5 things that you have accomplished, that you have succeeded in, or that you love how you serve people, you can't write 5 things. You know what I'm saying? Like, one thing that I love about myself is what I just said. I serve people. I love people. I love to be kind to people. If I got something and you need something and I got it, you can get it. I have no problem. Whatever it is that I got and the person needs it, I'm gonna be there for them. I remember my son asked me a little while ago, Mom, how come you always let people come live in your house? We don't really got much. We don't really got a whole lot to be letting somebody come and live here. And I told him, son, I remember how it was to be on the street with a bag, displaced, children spread all out. Like, I remember what that was. And so anytime a person comes to me and they need help, they need a place to stay, I have no problem helping them because I remember what that was like. And that's just one thing that made me grateful to know that I'm impacting my son's life in a way that he sees that my mom would help people if they need it, when they need it. And that just makes me feel good. So anytime I'm feeling down, or my thought pattern isn't 100% where it needs to be, and I feel myself getting frustrated, I feel myself getting anxious or panicky about certain things that's going on in my life, I try to bring myself back to a place of gratefulness. I'm grateful that I'm not struggling on the street no more. I'm grateful that all my children are in the home with me now, and they're learning the type of values and morals that I want them to learn. I'm grateful that I'm not depressed and I'm not drinking every day, and I'm not doing the things that I used to do back when I was not happy and feeling love within my own self. So you have to really be proactive. You have to really know who you are, what you want out of life, and you really have to go for it. And it's not easy being an adult. We should have probably listened to our mom and dad a little bit more when they said that. We wanted to be grown, we didn't listen. And so now we have to backtrack and heal ourselves, right? So I just wanted to, you know, give you a little snippet, a little tidbit. You know, I just wanted to give you a little snippet, a little tidbit, help you out a little bit. And make sure you like and subscribe Giraffe X on Instagram, Giraffe Oshun on Facebook. Yeah, and like, subscribe to my channel, and I really enjoy talking with you guys. And I hope that this video will let somebody along the way. Deuces. See you next week. Write in the comment section if you ever had problems with depression, if you ever struggle with anxiety, if you ever struggle with panic attacks. Write down into the comments. Tell us your experiences. You know, tell us how you overcame it. What type of things help you get through your depression, to get through your anxiety, get through your panic. Did changing your thought pattern help you? What would you think the first step in overcoming anxiety and depression is? What do you think that is? Right?